Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is more concerned with giving health care to illegal immigrants than keeping the government open.
Is that Chuck Schumer is terrified she's going to get a primary challenge from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
I saw some Republican members of Congress saying, oh, well, if we have this shutdown, it's because of AOC. Well, if that's the case, my office is open and you are free to walk in and negotiate with me directly.
The Democrats exposed like never before. This story has it all. Fear, weakness, backroom deals, and of course, the same tired old playbook of putting illegal immigrants first. You'll see exactly how Democrats like Schumer and Pelosi scramble to cover for AOC, how J.D. Vance calls it out with pure common sense, and how even Fox News anchors rip apart the Democrats' lies about health care for illegal immigrants. This is the kind of story the mainstream media tries to spin. So make sure you stick with me until the very end, because every part of this breakdown builds on the last. By the time we're finished, you'll understand exactly why Republicans are calling this the Schumer shutdown, and why the far left is terrified of the truth getting out. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button right now. We're bringing you the facts the media hides, straight talk with no spin, and I promise you, you won't want to miss what's coming next.
So Republicans say Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is more concerned with giving health care to illegal immigrants than keeping the government open. And a potential 2028 primary from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is looming above his head. But first, a quick flashback. Democrats giving illegal immigrants health care isn't a new policy position.
Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants.
Schumer's top priority? Giving benefits to people who broke the law to get here. Republicans didn't just call him out on policy, Luisa. They pointed out the politics behind it. You can practically feel the pressure building over Schumer's head. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's not just some junior congresswoman anymore. In his mind, she's a looming threat, the face of a possible 2028 primary that could take him down. And he knows it. That's why J.D. Vance framing this as a choice. Schumer can either fight for the American people, or he can bow to AOC and the open borders crowd. From what we're seeing, he's chosen AOC. Schumer is using government shutdown politics not as a negotiation for the American people, but as a bargaining chip to secure his position inside the Democrat Party. He knows AOC represents the rising socialist wing. If he doesn't cater to her, he risks being painted as too moderate by his own base. J.D. Vance takes the gloves off and tells the truth straight out.
But the reality here, and let's be honest about the politics, is that Chuck Schumer is terrified she's going to get a primary challenge from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. The reason why the American people's government is shut down is because Chuck Schumer is listening to the far-left radicals in his own party because he's terrified of a primary challenge.
If what J.D. Vance is saying is true, and the evidence is overwhelming, then every decision Schumer is making right now is not about what's good for America, but what's good for Chuck Schumer. His number one priority is protecting his Senate seat in 2028, not protecting families who are about to feel the sting of a shutdown. Republicans are calling this the Schumer shutdown, and they're absolutely correct. But here's the twist. Schumer isn't even in charge of his own shutdown. According to Vance, and according to the pattern we're watching unfold, the real puppeteer is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. J.D. Vance is right to point out the absurdity of this dynamic. We're talking about one of the longest-serving Democrat leaders in Washington bending over backwards to appease someone who's been in Congress for less than a decade. Why? Because the Democrat Party has shifted so far to the left that AOC now holds the keys to Schumer's future. That's why Republicans are standing firm. That's why J.D. Vance's words resonate. But if you think this is shocking, wait until you see AOC herself actually admits what Republicans have been saying all along. And Nancy Pelosi's reaction will leave you shaking your head.
I saw some Republican members of Congress saying, oh, well, if we have this shutdown, it's because of AOC. Well, if that's the case, my office is open and you are free to walk in and negotiate with me directly.
Then Nancy Pelosi, widely accepted as the most influential congressional Democrat of an entire generation, couldn't believe her ears.
There was a thought from the Republicans that AOC is directing this, and she said that senators are welcome to go to her office directly. Is she driving that?
Why are you saying such a ridiculous thing?
I'm just quoting what AOC said. She said go to her office directly. Do you think there's any credibility to that?
She's not directing this. She's wonderful. She's a real team player and the rest of that. You started by saying Republicans saying that she's directing this. She is not. Hakeem Jeffries is.
This is why J.D. Vance was absolutely right. She's openly positioning herself as a power broker in the shutdown. And it doesn't end there. Nancy Pelosi. For years, Pelosi has been considered the most powerful Democrat in Congress, the so-called master strategist. But in this clip, you can hear the cracks in her armor, Pelosi's tone. It's defensive, almost frantic. She doesn't have a solid denial. Instead, she resorts to flattery, praising AOC like she's a kid at a school recital who just needs encouragement. That's not the response of someone confident in their own control. That's the response of someone trying to downplay the obvious, that AOC is taking the wheel. Pelosi's answer actually proves the point. If AOC weren't a serious factor, Pelosi could have easily dismissed the idea. But instead, she fumbles, flatters, and scrambles because deep down she knows Republicans are telling the truth. And here's the most important part. If AOC is already wielding this much power in 2025, imagine what she'll do in 2028 if she runs for higher office. But hold on, because if you thought Pelosi's defense of AOC was weak, wait until where Scott Bessent lays out the cold, hard truth. This shutdown isn't about budgets or negotiations at all. It's about Schumer's poll numbers.
Chuck Schumer did the right thing in the spring and led the Senate to a clean CR. What's changed since then is it's his poll numbers. The president, Vice President Vance, Speaker Johnson, Leader Thune, they're not negotiating with Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries. They're negotiating with Representative Ocasio-Cortez because she's nipping at his heels. And, so the American people are being held hostage by Chuck Schumer's poll numbers.
It confirms what J.D. Vance warned about earlier. Schumer isn't making decisions based on what's good for the country. He's making them based on what's good for Chuck Schumer's political survival. And the biggest threat to that survival? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Republicans like Speaker Mike Johnson, Vice President J.D. Vance, and other GOP leaders aren't really negotiating with Schumer or even Hakeem Jeffries. They're negotiating with AOC. Just let that sink in. The official minority leader of the Senate isn't the point of contact anymore. AOC, a single radical congresswoman from New York, has become the de facto decision maker. They're governing based on what keeps them safe from being eaten alive by their own radical base. If AOC can force Schumer to cave on shutdown politics, what does that mean for the rest of the country? It means every radical demand she makes could become the baseline for Democrat negotiations. AOC isn't just influencing the shutdown, she's controlling it. Schumer is so desperate to save himself that he's letting her write the script. And if Republicans don't call this out, it will become the new normal for Democrat politics. But the story doesn't end here. Even Fox News anchors get involved, and they shred through the Democrats' claims about health care for illegal immigrants with hard evidence straight from the Democrats' own proposal.
When they say that undocumented immigrants are going to get this money, it's a lie, plain and simple.
All right, so let's put up on the screen here. This is page 57 of the Democrats' continuing resolution that they're proposing. This is section 2141. It's in ledge speak, so you probably can't even begin to understand it. But basically what it calls for is a repeal of restrictions in the big, beautiful bill that limited federal health care dollars for people who are lawfully present in the United States but don't have legal status. So if this was revoked, as the Democrats wanted to, it would give parolees, like hundreds of thousands of people admitted under the CHNV program or the CBP One app, access to health care. It would also restore full Medicaid funding for illegal migrants, illegal aliens who visit the emergency room. So do they want to give health care to illegal aliens or not?
And it's not just opinion, it's cold, hard fact. For all the noise Chuck Schumer and his allies make about protecting families and keeping government open, what they're really pushing for is shocking. Taxpayer-funded health care for illegal immigrants. Fox News wasn't twisting anything here. They were simply reminding viewers that Democrats have already pledged themselves to this radical path. Schumer might want to downplay it, but his own party is on record supporting it. According to the Federation for American Immigration Reform, FAIR, illegal immigration already costs U.S. taxpayers over $150 billion per year. Healthcare makes up a significant chunk of that cost. Hospitals in border states are overwhelmed, rural clinics are shutting down, and emergency rooms are crowded with cases that strain local budgets. Expanding federal benefits would multiply those problems nationwide. The shutdown fight isn't about keeping the government open or closed. It's about priorities. Republicans are prioritizing the American people. Democrats are prioritizing illegal immigrants. And Schumer, desperate to protect himself from AOC's wrath, is willing to lie and cover it up rather than admit what his party's proposal really says.